Yes, now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thomas Rants YouTube channel. Let's talk NXT. On paper, this should have been one of the best NXTs in a while. And to give them credit, from an entertainment standpoint, it absolutely was. I mean, it was star-studded. How many title matches do we have? Like 4 or 5? It was a ridiculous card. More matches than segments, which sometimes I don't typically like, but after yesterday's Monday Night Raw, I prefer it, so fair enough. Where do I even begin? Because there's a lot to actually unpack. Let's start with the NXT Championship, the main thing, the main prize. We've got a Joe Hendry Chronicle, which was like basically a rundown of his wrestling story, his life story, and how he progressed to wrestling. Quite interesting. I'm actually glad that they showed that, because me personally, I agreed with Ricky Sainz. I thought Joe Hendry was just a meme, to be honest, in a decent wrestler, but decent at best, because the in-ring ain't all that. And the best thing about Joe Hendry was the meme of his theme tune, but now it's actually just jarring, right? But this actually showed he does have amateur wrestling background. He has a judo background, and I have a bit more respect for him now. So they've actually sold that story very well. So fair play, they did their job. And Ricky Sainz himself is actually aligning himself pretty much with Ethan Page and Vanity Project as if they are a faction. And they all got involved in the main event with Ethan Page, and Ricky Sainz ended up getting chased out of the building by Joe Hendry. It is what it is. On the topic of Vanity Project and Ethan Page, where do I begin? Obviously, we know Vanity Project beat Hank and Tank, entered their way into a triple threat match, making it a fatal four-way, then won that, and then challenged for the NXT Tag Team titles tonight against Dark State. By the way, Dark State, dominant force, who came in beating up people like Retribution once did, but obviously a better Retribution. And Vanity Project, they got a bit of a goofy gimmick, and I'm not as much a fan of it. I've not got no problem with it. It's just I don't find it hard to take them seriously, and they're quite annoying. So fair enough, you're doing your job, right? They must be good at their role, right? But for them to come in that quick and take the NXT Tag Team titles, I am raging about that. I am raging. That's not even the biggest upset of the night, but it's fine. So yeah, that didn't make me too happy. At least it wasn't clean. At least, obviously, it helps the Dark State and Tony D'Angelo story, because obviously Tony D'Angelo got involved and cost Dark State the championships. So now they're looking for him, and that just adds to their story. But now we have Vanity Project, right? You got Jackson Drake with the Evolve Championship. You got Ricky Smokes and Brad Baylor, whatever he's called, with the NXT Tag Team titles. Then you had Ethan Page with the North American title, and maybe Ricky Sainz might win that NXT title. But then when we talk about Ethan Page and that North American title, well, we know he was defending it tonight against Miles Bourne. He had the ankle injury next week, which didn't actually play it too much into the match. I mean, it did a bit, but you'd think it would help in the end. It didn't. Vanity Project planned on helping Ethan Page retain his title like they did last week, but they had a bit of a run-in. Hank and Tank, Shiloh Hill, they were all there to stop them, because Shiloh Hill got cost by them. Hank and Tank have got problems with them. They took their steering wheel off their car for some reason, and they met them out there and stopped them, and Vanity Project's interruption wasn't successful. And as we know, Ricky Sainz tried to get involved as well, and Joe Hendry stopped him. In the end, Miles Bourne came out on top and took Ethan Page's North American title right as he was about to break the record for longest reign. He's had the most defenses, so he's got that record, but longest reign, he's now tied, I think, with Obafemi, or he just hasn't beat it. And it's such a shame, because I've got no problem with Miles Bourne being North American champion, but I think Ethan Page and his North American title run was the best thing going on NXT, so it's sad to see it go. But to shed some light on it, right, first of all, Miles Bourne's theme tune is actually great. I didn't realise. If that's new, well done. If it's not, I didn't even realise that you had that. But to shed some light on it, I think this might mean Ethan Page might go to the main event scene of NXT, because, we kind of just got Joe Hendry and Ricky Sainz, and we're a bit starved of stars, because, as we know, Oba, Trick, and Javon all moved up. So Ethan Page might go there. I'm not sure how that will work for the dynamic between Ricky Sainz and Ethan Page, because they went from, friends in AEW, I think. I don't know. But they both came from AEW, came NXT, had a massive rivalry, hated each other, and then best friends once they both turned heel. But it is what it is. But that would be interesting. We had a couple of other just random matches that weren't title matches, like Keanu Carver and Shawn Legacy. Obviously, Keanu Carver got the win pretty convincingly. We had Uriah Connors versus Cale Dixon. As you know, Uriah left Chase U because it wasn't working out for him, and he joined Lexis King and Stax Lorenzo. I think they're kind of starting a next generation faction now. I'm not sure if Stax is a Neville baby, but I know Lexis is. Apparently Uriah Connor is, and I know Ariana Grace is. Uriah Connor's got the win. Fair enough. I mean, if they're going to build him up as a heel and they're going to put him in this faction that they're going to build up, fair enough. He probably should get the win. And to be honest, I never liked Chase U, and he looked 10 times better in that match than he ever did with Chase U. So I ain't going to disagree with it. We had Blake Monroe versus Thea Hale. The dreaded rematch that Blake Monroe did not want because she's scared that she's going to lose the Thea Hale again because of that first fluke. In the first round of a speed tournament, and obviously who comes out and costs Blake Monroe? It's Jada Parker, and Thea Hale gets the win, and Blake Monroe's nightmare lives on. Kind of mad about that because I wanted Blake Monroe to go on, but then when you think about it, Blake Monroe there's no place for Blake Monroe in the speed tournament. She absolutely needs to be above that. She needs to be in the main event picture, right? Let alone the speed title picture, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, continuing that Jada Parker, Blake Monroe feud, I'm not going to be too mad at it. I don't know why, because didn't Jada beat Blake Monroe, or am I getting that wrong? I don't know. It's very easy to forget things in this day and age. But when we're talking speed title, and as we know, I was already mad at the speed tournament because Josh Briggs got beat by, was it Elio LaFleur or Eli Knight? Can't remember. Josh Briggs got beat, and I thought Josh Briggs should absolutely win that tournament because Jasper and Josh both had this thing when they were in the ring with everyone else, with Ethan Page, with Miles Bourne, that I'm the best big man in NXT. And that would have made so much sense to run it. I know it's two big men, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the speed title, but for them two, that made sense. But they didn't. They went with Elio and they went with Eli because Eli's just came up from Evolve. Elio's just came over from AAA. They're trying to build them up while just pushing Josh Briggs away. And then neither man won, and then they made it a triple threat match for a 7-minute time limit. I expected Jasper Troy to retain again. No. Elio LaFleur won the title. Tell me why. Tell me why. What was wrong with Jasper Troy's reign? This was the best thing you could have done for him because you've got a lot of stories, a lot of angles, and it's very hard to get your hands on a championship. To be an LFG winner, right, they've utilised him perfectly through the speed tournament because he had his feud with Ricky Sainz, he had his feud with Obafemi. Having the speed title is a way to keep him active and prove that he's dominant because every time someone wins a speed tournament, he beats them in a couple minutes. It's suited perfectly for a massive dominating figure. But no, drop it to Elio LaFleur because he's going to be dominant. I know he's a high flyer and he's going to be quick and that's cool for the speed title, but like, I'm not happy with it, man. I'm not happy because we could have had Josh Briggs, Jasper Troy, and then you could have done that. You know, you could have done that next time. But no, you've starved us of a potentially really good match, and I'm not happy about it. Really not happy about it. Tatum Paxley cut a promo in the crowd. It was quite a cool promo. Izzy Dame came, met her out there, security were on it straight away. We're going to get a face-off between them two next week, right before that match for the Women's North American title. I mean, that feud just needs to end now, like, let's be honest. Like, and not in a bad way. Like, it's not like it's negative, like, it was a bad promo, because it's not. But, like, it's been going on for that long that nothing's that shocking anymore. We're just waiting for this match where either Izzy retains or Tatum takes the title and then we're done, you know. And if you ask me, I think Izzy should retain and Tatum go to the main event picture. But there is a lot going on there, so maybe not. And talking of that women's main event picture, that NXT women's title picture, JC Jane was defending against Sol Ruka. Now, first of all, I know Ethan Page and Miles Bourne had the more hype. Well, it doesn't actually have more hype, but it had the better, you know, the more controversial ending, the bigger moment. But we don't know that beforehand, right? So to see all these matches, right, because we've had 1, 2, 4 titles defended, to think the NXT Women's Championship is just in the mid-card, right, and not the main event, blows my mind, but obviously we know why, right? Sorry I made up with Sol Ruka last week, and last week I said Zaria's either going to cost Sol Ruka that match, or when she wins the title, Zaria's going to turn on her, and we're going to get that match. Let's stand and deliver. Well, I was right in some capacity. She turned on her right before the match. And then the bell rang. JC Jane hit... God, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. She hit a finisher, pinned her, won straight away. Zarya comes up to her backstage like, you only got that because I helped you. You owe me a match. And now Zarya, by taking out Sol Ruka, turning on her, and ruining her championship opportunity, has somehow earned herself a championship opportunity next week. Tell me how that makes sense. I've got no clue. But there's no way in hell Zaria's winning that championship. So Ruga's got to cost that. And if she does, I'm going to question NXT and I'm going to question WWE. Because the only route there would be Zaria taking the NXT title next week and them having a match at Stand Deliver, Zaria and Soul, and Soul getting the win at Stand Deliver. But I think now JC Jane's going to hold on to that title all the way into Stand and Deliver, and I think Soul and Zaria are probably just going to have a one-on-one match at Stand and Deliver, which is fair enough, and then Soul might win it after Stand and Deliver. But at some point, the main roster's calling for Soul Rugas so badly, so we can probably expect that at any time. So she might not even win the NXT Women's Championship. She might just go full Javon Evans in this, and I'm not mad at it. I'm really not mad at it. Apart from that, I mean, we had Lola Vice kicking off, asking for an NXT Underground match with Kalani, because Kalani bragging about how she made Lola tap. So Lola's like, yeah, I'm going to show you how real fighters go. So I'm not too happy in the end. Like, entertainment-wise, match quality-wise, amazing, right? I mean, let's talk the matches we had. We had the NXT Tag Team title match. We had the Speed title triple threat match. Speed tournament match between Blake Monroe and Thea Hale. We had Keanu Carver, Sean Legacy. We had Uriah Connors, Kale Dixon. And then we had the NXT Women's Championship. And then the North American Championship. That's 7 matches on an hour and a half. Like less than 2 hours short of NXT. Meanwhile, on Monday Night Raw, we had a whole 2.5 hours with only 4 matches. And one of them was... one of them got called off in 2 minutes. Do you know what I mean? That just shows the difference here. Monday Night Raw on Netflix are going for headlines and they're not planning shit, and it's awful. I'm being honest, right? And it's not bad. Like, it's a show I want to watch. Monday Night Raw I get the most excited for. I think anyone would, because it's always been the main show. But as of recent, I feel like the actual quality they're giving us in terms of, not even in just terms of entertainment, just in terms of long-term storytelling and actual, like, substance to a story, they're not giving us that. NXT just give us a 10 times better show than Monday Night Raw. Bite me. I don't even care. NXT was better than Monday Night Raw. And I don't think that'll be the first time. And SmackDown will be better than Monday Night Raw too. SmackDown's got a tough show to beat with NXT because that was a quality show. But at the same time, no one that I wanted to win won. Like, I genuinely think no one. Like, I wanted Dark State to retain. I wanted Jasper to retain. I wanted Soul to become champion. I wanted Ethan to retain. None of that happened. I didn't care about Uriah Connors. I mean, Keanu Carver, I suppose you could say I wanted him to win. I wanted Blake to win. I don't care for Thea, to be honest with you. Like, genuinely, no one. Like, and Keanu was the only person I could agree with winning there, and I couldn't care less about that match. So, I'm disappointed at the results, but entertainment-wise, fair enough. There's an audience for everything. It is what it is. But that's my opinions on NXT. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.